I really like this question because it asks about digitization, even though data science and machine learning are also really impactful. It's that broad digitization transformation that's been really important for us over the last few years. And at every step of that journey, we've had customer focus and the needs of our customers at the center of our attention. And so the kinds of problems that we've been solving, not only with digitization, but also with data analytics and increasingly data science and machine learning, are ones that really matter to folks who are using Maersk and being customers of us. So it could be improving the quality of our customer service by sentiment analysis, or automating a lot of the flows around how we handle common issues that come up. Or it could be through the development of products that are more end-to-end and integrated than they have been ever before, so that we're not only providing customers with a perspective on ocean transport, but a really end-to-end picture of the journey. And increasingly, we're investing in areas that have a deep lineage in data science, like personalization and recommendation, so that our different customer personae can receive really strong, tailored service very effectively at a very large scale. Yes, so I definitely recommend any folks who haven't looked at our website, maersk.com, recently, to have a look around and explore the product offerings that we have. And I'll mention a couple that are really impactful. Our supply chain management solutions are really focusing on that end-to-end supply chain view, and we've begun implementing the kinds of data science and ML capabilities that would really drive that. For instance, in our visibility product offering, we use really quite sophisticated technology to provide our arrival intelligence. And that's going to be an even bigger part of the product offering as we look to the future. Yeah, decarbonisation for Maersk and for the shipping industry as a whole is a really important, even a core part of our vision and mission as a company for the decades to come. And our CEO, as well as our head of decarbonisation, have been taking a really strong stand on advancing us very quickly. In fact, we have made some strides already that use data and analytics in very sophisticated ways to have an impact on carbonisation. Our use of bunker management software, which we have deployed on our vessels to enable vessels to make accurate decisions about when to slow steam, when to vary the rate at which we're traveling across the ocean, in order to both optimize things that from a cost standpoint are important to Maersk, but also have an impact on our goals for decarbonisation. That's just a first step. As we're building integrated supply chains that go through inland, terminals, and ocean as well, having an end-to-end eye on the carbon impact and the way we can be monitoring and ultimately impacting that will be a really core goal for us alongside serving our customers. So super question that actually touches a lot of different parts of how we're thinking about our company and our products. So at the foundation of this is how we design our network in general, which is a really interesting data science problem with a lot of touch points in both classical optimization as well as deep learning or reinforcement learning. But the impact, the kind of impact that we would aspire to have with data, isn't only about, how could we design or manage contingencies in our network, but also address questions like, what's our optimal strategy for chartering? And that's something that would be very important for ship owners to be thinking about. And then, of course, this question in particular mentioned the topic of crewing, which is a really key one for us and the seafarers that we have working with us at Maersk are really the heroes of our company, and anything we can do with data and analytics to help them be better, safer, is really kind of the ultimate goal for any data scientist at Maersk. And in fact, over the last year, with of course the very unfortunate circumstances with the pandemic, has nevertheless created a lot of outstanding opportunities for us to use data to improve outcomes for our seafarers and our customers. And we've built some software that really helped on designing optimal crewing during the pandemic to ensure safety and to ensure efficiency. And I really would want to give a shout out to the folks who worked on that. It was a really heroic effort and had amazing outcomes. Certainly, our vessels, our assets are always going to be operated by our people, who are ultimately the biggest asset that we have. Automation doesn't change that. Automation can help them do their jobs better and more safely and more effectively than ever before. But we know that our vessels will always be part of the core of the company, and also part of the core of where our employees are working and having the most impact. The impact of automation on employment and industries in general is an unanswered question for many industries. And also with the pandemic, the possibilities of remote work or remote operations have been opened up and exposed in ways that we wouldn't have thought about a year ago. Maersk approaches this question with great sensitivity and with great partnership with representatives of our employees and with governments and industry bodies all across the world. We don't pretend we have the answers to this. We do believe that we can listen and come to a great conclusion that works for all of global trade. And that's going to be our focus as we think about the impact of automation in the industry. Well, fantastic, and I'll definitely drop a link in the LinkedIn chat with a link to some of our job postings, particularly for data engineering roles. We're absolutely on the lookout for great data engineers at all levels, including folks who are just starting out in their careers. And Maersk is a fantastic place for starting out or growing your career, no matter what stage you are at. We're looking for, first of all, a really diverse group of folks who can work with us. And in fact, that's our highest priority in hiring, even if it means that we take a little bit longer to fill the positions that we have. When I think about kind of the technical skill set for data engineering, we have very similar requirements to other kind of logistics or technology-oriented companies like Amazon or Flexport, or these kind of very digitally native companies. So yeah, I mean, think about it as joining a digitally native organization and requiring the kind of software skills and understanding of software carpentry, as well as data and product thinking that one would need. Yeah, it's a topic I'm really passionate and curious about, and I enjoy talking about this in a range of different forums. I think I've had the opportunity over the last few years, particularly at Maersk, to work with a whole range of outstanding data scientists all across the world, and I can tell you, if you've seen one data science career path, then you've seen one data science career path. I think everyone has their own journey, and to give some examples of how I've seen folks growing. Some folks really gravitate towards software engineering, and I see those roles increasingly maybe being described as AI engineering or machine learning engineering, or even in platform engineering and kind of the ML ops work. And I think for folks who are interested in the technology and how we make data science more effective from an engineering standpoint, there will continue to be tremendous opportunities. Another strand I see is in product management and product thinking. And some of the data scientists who I've worked with who've had the biggest impact on customers are those who have really been able to go deep into a domain, understand what it is that makes data a differentiator in that domain, and then invest the time in making their impact in that area. And when they do that, then there's really no limit to the opportunities that they can have in that space in terms of being able to work with really senior leaders, having that impact while remaining deeply connected to their core data science skill set. The last area I'd mentioned that I think is going to be a really interesting one for the future is at the intersection of data science and design. And it's something that I've begun thinking about only relatively recently, but I'm beginning to think about it a lot now, together with our terrific design leaders here at Maersk. And this covers a whole range of topics. It's not only about how do we visualize data, it's about how do we design data products in a way that's reflecting the needs of customers, but is also reflecting the kinds of ethical questions that we will need to answer. And the topic of ethics in machine learning and AI is only going to grow in importance. It's very important already. And I don't believe that the answer to that will come exclusively from data scientists. It comes from folks who can really apply design-centered thinking about customers and thinking about society broadly. And so for folks who are interested in having a career that has that kind of impact as well, that's definitely an increasing strand I see in data science. Fantastic. I can say firsthand that Maersk is a terrific place for having the opportunity to grow one's career and for continuous learning and development. We are a very diverse environment. We aim to be increasingly diverse in the future as well, and that provides a whole range of different opportunities for learning just off the bat. But we also have some very strong internal communities of practice around data science, data engineering, software engineering, both front end and back end, as well as in the design. And those communities provide a really strong engine for development, learning, growth, be it through talks, mentorship, more structured thinking around career development, which I know is particularly important for folks in earlier stages of their careers. And in fact, the outcomes we've seen for data scientists at our company have been terrific. I've had the opportunity to work with some outstanding data scientists here in Denmark who've gone on to amazing things in Maersk and even outside of Maersk. And I'll definitely mention a few names as examples in the LinkedIn chat response I make as well. It's a super question, and I really enjoy. It's one of the great things about working in this industry is there are actually a whole range of interesting hardware and edge computing questions that one has to tackle in thinking about data as well. But actually, our ability to collect data from our assets and connect it and integrate it with our company's data foundation is actually matured very much in the last few years. And so the kinds of questions that we ask ourselves now, if we're thinking about what do we need to do to unblock value from our data, rely on the processes we have across our company for working with the data. How do we ensure that our data is accurate? How do we ensure that we're not having multiple sources of data? And that kind of process maturity, which is both about technology and data, but also about our business processes, is something that's really core for us. And we've brought in some great leaders in the last year or couple of years who have deep experience both in process mining as well as in enterprise data strategy to help us think through this. And underlying all of it from the perspective of a technology foundation is our internal platform, Maestro, which we use for ingesting, consuming, transporting, and enriching data, which we then use across all of our products. So those are the ways we are keeping our data clean and reliable, but we also recognize we've got a long range of opportunities still to achieve there. Absolutely, yeah. So I think one of the big things I've been able to learn over the last 5 years is how do we take an industry that is in many ways very successful, has a extremely strong lineage, not only of financial success, but also having positive societal impact, and work out how processes or technologies like data science and machine learning can be used to transform or benefit the industry. And Maersk's made a lot of progress in this, and it's required different steps. We've had to undertake a very ambitious digital transformation, and some of our technology leaders, like Navneet Kapoor and Ibrahim Gulshan, really brought in a very successful foundation for that work at an early stage. The development of our data platform has taken several years, and that's an investment that we are now reaping very strong rewards from. More recently, we've worked a lot on the thinking of product thinking and on how we can arrange a lot of our engineering and development activities along the lines of platforms that are reusable, modular, that scale to meet the needs of our customers, not only in the next 2 years, but in the next 10 years. Rodom Yashko has recently joined us to really help us in thinking about that. So if I'm starting out, if I'm starting out at an industry or at a company that's wanting to go on this journey to unlock the value of data, those are the kinds of topics that I'm going to want to probe on. Like, how are we thinking about digitizing data that might be in non-digitized or in an isolated form? Bringing that together it's got to be a first step. But then also having a sound approach on the technology foundation and the team needed to bring together and enrich that data. And then having, in some ways, most importantly of all, having really rich, strong dialogues with, be it business leaders or executives or product leaders, about the customer aspirations for our company or the industry with data. And it's never too early to start those conversations. So for folks who are in a company that are wondering about the data science journey, having those dialogues with the business leaders across the company is the right thing to do. And my best advice is try not to think of it as a question about how do we use data science at our company. Try to reason from what are customers needing, what is our business needing to be successful, and then work backwards to how will we use data, be it through foundational analytics, through data science, through more sophisticated machine learning, to achieve those outcomes. Great. I mean, there are whole range of different folks who benefit from learning about data science and machine learning. And so I'd like to just mention a couple of the standard sources that I mention whenever I'm talking to different folks who are curious about this topic. For folks who are coming from a business or product or design mindset and want to understand about how does data science or AI have an impact in the area I'm working on, for the logistics industry, there's a white paper actually from DHL a few years ago about AI and logistics that I still think is very, very good. It's excellent at describing how logistics can be transformed by artificial intelligence, but also giving very concrete examples at a level of sophistication that's very good. So if you're maybe you're an enterprise architect, maybe you're a data science leader at a logistics industry company, that can be a very good white paper for giving to executives or to senior business stakeholders to get them excited about the journey. But equally, there are many folks who come from technology backgrounds, engineering backgrounds, who are super excited and want to learn more about how they actually build data science products or models. And for there, I think, a terrific range of different learning options that have grown up in the last few years. For folks who really want to get invested in model building and the engineering aspects, there's no better source than Fast AI. That's fast.ai. Which Jeremy Howard and his group have put together, Rachel Thomas as well. Terrific, really engineering focused. So gives someone with a software engineering background a really rapid, credible way forward in machine learning and modeling. But for folks who are coming to it from an earlier perspective and just wanting to understand what is artificial intelligence, I certainly recommend the Elements of AI course. You can just Google Elements of AI and you'll find it, which is free to anyone who wants to use it and has really good sophisticated content, even though it's at a level that many people can understand. That's a great primer on AI. For folks who are using a particular cloud platform, be it AWS, GCP, or Azure, each of those providers offers some material around getting into data science and machine learning. We use Azure a lot here at Maersk, and Microsoft Learn's courses on how to use Azure for data science and machine learning are very, very good. So as a starting point, I would definitely recommend looking into those as well. When we started our journey with data science at Maersk, we were thinking along the lines of proven examples that work in other industries that will be relevant for us in shipping. Things like automation customer service or personalization and recommendation to serve our customers better. And we've built a lot of success with that. But the thing I've really felt the most excited about, that's really deeply impressed me about this industry and about what we can do, is those examples of initiatives we're unlocking that are really unique to shipping and logistics. I've talked a little bit about the potential of decarbonisation and bunker management, and that's something that I think is just, as a data scientist, such an amazing topic to be able to think about and to work on. It combines, deep physics as well as statistics, and really tests your thinking as a scientist as well as an engineer and product thinker. And similarly, the depth of our work in network design and network planning, which has a terrific lineage at this company, is incredibly impressive. I'm constantly surprised at the impact that we can have with data science and machine learning in that area, given the scale of the operation that we have and the scale of the impact that we have with it. Yeah, we have a really outstanding R&D team who are focusing on these longer term topics. And so it's terrific to give them a shout out as well. And the kinds of questions that we are thinking about deeply are not only technical research questions, but also thinking about the future of the impact of AI. I've talked during this discussion a bit about automation and the ethics of AI, and advances in those areas, even though they may not be seen as technical advances, are, I think, going to be some of the most long range and impactful things. If I look then at kind of some of the technical research areas that are exciting us a lot at the moment, we've really been eager to build a strong understanding of causal inference and its role in exposing and clarifying data and insights that have to be integrated across a really wide span of a company or a business. We often find that we have the ability to put data together, but not necessarily to answer the right question. And techniques like causal inference, which we're investing in research quite a lot, are really to help us expose and understand those questions better than ever before. And of course, we have some super areas where in some ways we feel we're maybe even world leading. And a great example for that, of course, is our network, our shipping network, which is a really interesting, difficult combinatorial optimization problem where, from a research perspective, we've been looking at the use of reinforcement learning frameworks to manage those large-scale optimization problems, which will be an interesting question for us for many, many years to come. But as I look to the future, I can see that topics in supply chain management, as well as in our kind of terminals and fleet areas, will also be ones where we're going to really closely look at, be it statistical prediction possibilities or different automation or AI use cases. They'll be our focus. Thanks, everyone. These are amazing questions. I'm really inspired by what I'm hearing from everyone, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you all on LinkedIn, Twitter, or any of our other channels. I'll be following up and answering questions in detail there. So if you've asked a question, or if you thought about asking a question and didn't, you haven't missed the opportunity, please do that, and I'll absolutely be looking forward to chatting with you and linking you to some of the amazing data science talent we have across Maersk to answer your questions in more detail. Thank you.